When did you suddenly realize you were dating a total dull person? We were at a restaurant when I had a full-on allergic reaction. My throat swelled shut, my neck puffed up, panic mode. He looked at me, dead serious, and asked, maybe you should go outside and breathe some fresh air? We were already sitting outside on the patio. I had this sweet but not so bright friend who proudly told me he got a new game, Battlefield. He said it was set in the Vietnam War. The game? Battlefield 1. You know, the one set in World War I. History wasn't exactly his strong suit. She legit didn't understand the difference between flamingos and penguins. Her argument? She grew up in Alaska, never saw flamingos, therefore they must be fake. She pointed at the daytime moon and said, "That's not right. The moon isn't supposed to be visible in daylight. That's the government spying on us." Me, "You're totally right, babe, but maybe don't tell anyone else that, okay?" I opened the bathroom cabinet and found cotton swabs scattered everywhere. In the sink, on the comm, in the soap dish. When I asked him why, he said he dumped the box they came in to save space in the cabinet. My coworker, who studied Spanish for 2 years in high school, once asked me, "What language do they speak in Spain?" I told him to repeat the question to himself slowly. When I explained it's Spanish, she asked, "But wait, do Mexicans speak Spanish because they all went to Spain to learn it?" Yeah, I had to give him a crash course in colonization. My ex literally called me to ask how to cook pasta from a box. Then he asked which pot he should use. He was 35. I dated a coworker who worked the opposite shift. One day, he told me the office computer wouldn't let him log in. The sticky note literally said, "Login XYZ, password XYZ." When I tried, it worked instantly. I asked what he typed. He said, "Password XYZ," just like it says. This man had been typing password XYZ for days. He had a gas can in the trunk the whole time. When I asked why he didn't just push it to the station, he said, "I was too embarrassed." But apparently not too embarrassed to shove the car through a Starbucks line for his free drink rewards. She told me she knew I didn't have any funky space germs because "you just look clean." Like, thanks, but also not exactly a medical test. I was riding shotgun with my then girlfriend. We were 22. I opened the glove box to put something inside, and she screamed, "What the meme are you doing?" Turns out, as a kid, her parents told her that opening the glove box while the car was moving could break the engine. She was 22 and still believed it. I was cutting plywood on my table saw. She snuck up behind me. I didn't know she was there and tried to help by pushing the board forward. Yeah, almost lost my hands. Wait, so Romans are from Rome? Me, yeah, my grandpa's from Rome. Her, so like the Roman Empire? Now I always clarify, grandma was Sicilian, grandpa was from Rome, the city. She bought a telescope and thought it'd be cute to look at stars together after our date. At one point I joked, "Crazy how we're both stuck on this giant space ball together." She went quiet, looked back through the telescope and said, "Wait, you actually believe that?" Yeah, we didn't last long after she started trying to convince me Earth was flat. I dated a girl in college who later went into a master's program in education. As part of her training, she had to take a refresher in natural sciences. One day she came home and went, "Did you know penguins are actually birds? I literally just found out. Never thought about it before." For me, it was when he asked my grandma if she'd ever had kids. He once asked me to use shorter words when we talked. The word I had used? Demographic. Once I managed to convince a coworker that flamingos were just lawn decorations and didn't exist in nature. Bright pink birds? Come on, too silly. It took her a full day to realize I was trolling her. She once asked if she needed to divorce her first husband before marrying me. He insisted Spain was in South America. Why? Because they speak Spanish there. I once landed in Amsterdam with a guy I was dating. I said I'd love to visit the Anne Frank house. He goes, "Oh, I didn't know you had friends here. Who's Anne?" He ran out of gas while sitting in traffic in the Starbucks drive-thru right across the street from a gas station. I had warned him the tank was nearly empty, but nope, he needed that iced caramel macchiato first. So he pushed the car through the Starbucks line, got his coffee, then parked it and called a tow truck to take the car home, not to the gas station 50 feet away. His logic was, I had enough reward stars for a free drink, so I saved money. I didn't want to waste gas money I saved on coffee. My brain blue screened for a moment, because how exactly do you use Starbucks app points at a Chevron? It's been 2 years. Still no answer. He put an entire raw chicken straight onto the oven rack. No tray, no pan, juice dripped down, smoke everywhere. Last girl I dated walked straight into heavy traffic without even looking. Cars going both directions slammed on their brakes to avoid her. When I caught up and asked what the heck that was, she just said, "Pedestrians always have the right of way." After dating for a year and a half, he finally confessed. The world is flat, we live under a dome, the sky is just a projection, and all those horizon experiments, totally fake. Fun fact, my dad and I do astrophotography with pro telescopes on the roof observatory. So yeah, that went over great. I once said I love stargazing on hikes because you can actually see the Milky Way out there. He corrected me, actually, you can't see the Milky Way, we live inside it. Same guy also refused to believe blueberries were real. I mentioned picking and eating them in the wild, and he straight up told me I was confused because blueberries are made up. He argued so confidently that I almost doubted myself for a second. He was super into Call of Duty back in the day and decided to get a tattoo of a cool design he saw in the game. Yeah, it was a giant meme eagle straight out of the Very Bad History Club. He once asked how oil companies even know where to build gas stations. Turns out he thought there were giant underground bubbles of fuel that people just tap into with hoses straight into the pump. The wildest part? He worked at a Chevron gas station. I told him I had to leave in an hour and a half. He said that was weird and I should just round up to 2 hours instead of saying 1 hour 30. When I clarified, he corrected me, actually that's 1.3 hours. He once asked me, so which bird does ham come from? Hard to brush that one off. She seriously told me there's no way Earth spins once a day. If it did, we'd all fly off. At some point, it became obvious she was terrible at directions. So I asked, okay, where do you think north is? She pointed straight up. In high school, I got a full ride to college for track and field. My girlfriend at the time hated how much I trained. I explained that without sports, I'd probably be drowning in debt, but the scholarship was destiny level important. She flipped out that I called the scholarship destiny and demanded I quit sports so we could hang out more. We broke up about 90 seconds later. She once suggested we could drive to Hawaii. Thanks for reading. Drop your own when did you realize you were dating a dull person stories in the comments. And don't forget to check out our other posts. See you next time.